Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is a direct video, just a tech video. This isn't like my other videos that you guys may have seen on my channel. So if you're watching this new and just because it attracted you just to the ad, yes, this is about the 5090 and Nvidia's new architecture and why most people are getting it wrong. So let's go into it. Why is most people getting it wrong, right? So many people are concerned with rasterization performance, and there's a reason why Nvidia is moving away from rasterization performance and AI generated frames for their games. Look at the Digital Foundry video that Digital Foundry put out. It takes about 40 milliseconds on average latency to get, let's say, 30 frames for a 4K frame from the rasterization process from even a really powerful GPU. So that's what I mean. In case you don't understand what rasterization is the process of taking a piece of software and then moving it through a GPU to create the frame that the software is describing. So in current games describe every piece of that piece of software, the 3D modeling, and every pixel generated color scheme. If it's 256 bit, so there's a lot to rasterize per frame, which is why it takes so much computing power to get so many frames per second, right? I mean, for 4K, you're talking about 800,000 pixels per second. Not only where the pixels are located on the screen, but the 256-bit color scheme of each one of those pixels. So that's the rasterization process. Now, as soon as the software changes, and this is not for whatever reason, people in the community aren't talking about this. As soon as the software changes so that you don't have to describe, all you have to do is say what general color, or maybe say forest setting. Because if you've trained AI models to know what colors those should be, you no longer have to create a piece of software to give out a specific 256-bit piece of information to get rasterized. All you have to do is provide a 3D model, and then you can have AI generate the rest. So things might be slightly different between games. If you're talking about the same game, let's say you're talking about a first-person shooter, right? The picture might look slightly different from person to person, but it also means that 3D model is the only thing that's actually being rasterized, which means that if AI can create the rest, the latency is going to be way lower, right? People aren't thinking about this and forward thinking. Nvidia is doing this on the back end. Now, I don't work for Nvidia and I don't work for AMD and these other companies, but there's a reason why Elon Musk and even our future president is worried about AI, because everything's going to be AI generated. And even like this video, let's say I'm a creator, so I'm creating this video, and yeah, for real-time videos, rasterization is really the only thing that matters, which is why so many people might use a 7900 XTX, to do all their video editing, which makes perfect sense because it's a much more powerful, just purely rasterization card than even, like a 4080. However, as soon as AI can color correct, all it has to do is draw the lines, copy the lines, and if it can color correct and be trained to accurately color correct, rasterization goes bye-bye, right? Even for creators. So the software is going to change. Not only that, but you won't even need to emulate software. You'll be able to put a really basic piece of software and then have AI generate all of it, and then the latency goes way down, because the time it takes to rasterize is so computationally comprehensive that it just takes way longer to do that versus having AI create it. Now, let's forward think even more. What about AAA title? What are games going to start to look like? If you can have AI generate anything from text, I'm sure any of you guys watching this video have gone online and, let's say, you just put in a description of a scene you want and it pops up. Why couldn't you do that with games, right? You could have choose your own adventure games where the game actually builds itself as you play it. Not only that, but every decision that you make could have a karmic consequence for other things that you've already built within the game, right? World building games where all you have to do is allow, the game just has to remember what's there An AI just creates it, and it just gets stored in memory. You basically could write a game to a hard drive and then keep replaying it, where AI can keep regenerating. I mean, think about a dungeon crawler where maybe a 10-layer dungeon that just is automatically created to have like a key for a door over here, and you don't know where any of that stuff is until you go in there. And it can be different every single time. Things are going to change pretty quick, and it's changing in a way that's a little bit dangerous, because you get people locked into false realities where they're just creating their own reality on their keyboard and not interacting with anybody else at all anymore. And then there's no more shared reality, right? Two directions you can go in life, right? Why would you not want to share your reality with other people? Because you could literally, it's going to, within a couple of years, it's going to be to where you could be able to create your reality, your own reality in front of you using AI and never have to talk to anybody ever again. It literally will become like the Matrix, right? Where you're just in a pod and then AI creates every sensation that you're going through. It's heading in that direction. Pretty dangerous, right? But people aren't really thinking about what the reason why Nvidia is doing a lot of this stuff and why it's being created. Their new Grace GPU, that GP10 or whatever it's called, a 20-arm CPU matched with a Blackwell AI die, and then you could stack more of those together. You know, the first one can do like 200 billion parameters, and just by stacking them, you're stacking another 200 billion parameters. And so you can start calculating very large data sets. Start creating larger and larger things right in front of you. Directly going after Microsoft and Apple too, because the 20, you know, if it can start generating what you need and just copying things from other platforms, you don't need Windows anymore. You could do that all on Linux. And if developers start realizing the potential, they'll start porting everything to Linux. Steam OS is already off the ground, right? On Linux-based platform. The clock's ticking. And Apple, the other ARM CPU manufacturer, they've already bottlenecked themselves where all their software is proprietary. None of it's open source. So if you're creating an open source atmosphere where everybody's writing to Nvidia's new AI supercomputer, then they're leaving everybody in the dust. They've already been blocked for a monopoly in the United States because they wanted to buy, I think it was Qualcomm. Well, I can't remember the name of the company. I think it was Qualcomm. And it's just too big of a purchase, right? I mean, if they're a $3 trillion company and they can start buying other 200 billion dollar companies, then the feds came in and blocked them. So this isn't a scare tactic, but there's other things happening under the surface to think about. A lot less people are going to be happy working for a company that can monitor your movements, like was in Nvidia's presentation on last Monday about, creating AI to create more efficient pathways for people in manufacturing facilities. Nobody wants that. So there'll be less people working for companies that try to institute, AI bots that just train you, right? Nobody wants that. To train you to work and just put money in somebody else's pocket? I don't think so. Something to think about, guys. This is the tech video update. Rasterization is going bye-bye, whether you guys realize it or not. And it's only a matter of time. Might be by the end of this year that we'll have some software out there that does not need rasterization. And the only thing that's getting rasterized is maybe a 3D model. It's just completely CPU limited. And if a CPU it just depends how fast that CPU can generate that 3D model that the software creates, and the AI can create the rest. Could get to the point where the AI is creating a 3D model if it's a choose your own adventure type game. So think about that one. Catch you guys later.